Hey everyone, welcome to Assembly Hall. It's our first basketball edition of Inside Indiana Overtime. Alex McCarthy with John Bauernfeind here at Assembly Hall, obviously after Indiana's 94-70 exhibition win over Northwood. Indiana started off a little bit slowly. They were down by as much as 7 with 13 minutes to go in the first half, and then just started hitting on all cylinders. Tom Crean said, they were just maybe a little bit too nervous or anxious or something. Came out and really weren't clicking for the first 6 or 7, 8 minutes, and then after that they just totally. It seemed like they basically outran Northwood for much of the game. A lot of first-year guys got into the action. Obviously, there were a ton of players suspended or hurt, and a lot of the guys who were here were first-year players. I mean, three of the 5 starters were guys who were playing their first game in Indiana, and they all had pretty solid outings. James Blackmon led all scorers with 26 points. Nick Zeisloft right behind with 24. But I think what a lot of people's eyes on tonight, a lot of people had their eyes on Hanner Mosquera-Perea tonight, just because he's such a key to the team, and just kind of trying to see what he's like in game action. We've heard that he's been improving and all this stuff, but really, you can't really take it that seriously until you see him play against actual competition. And he had a pretty good night tonight. John, I guess what were your thoughts on him?
He did, and I feel like that's a pretty proper introduction for Hanner. Everybody knows about the talent and IU's backcourt. Then again, there's a backcourt and a front court, and as of now, all you have is Hanner, especially with the next exhibition game and the first 2 regular season games. Hanner finished with 10 points, 12 rebounds, played 33 minutes. Up until tonight, he had never played more than 50 minutes, that is, in a regular season game. So first double-double, most minutes he's ever played the second most minutes on the team, and just 1 minute behind Yogi. And he looked pretty impressive. I mean, a double-double is always impressive. Granted, Northwood isn't necessarily
Right.
great competition. He didn't play like the best game of his career or best game on the floor out of anybody tonight. I mean, he struggled, holding on to the ball sometimes. He had 4 turnovers, was 2 for 6 shooting free throws. But that's not to say he still didn't have a good game. I mean, he made a 15-footer on the baseline. He missed 4 free throws, but his shots still look nice. And Hanner is definitely going to be someone to watch for the whole season. And you know, bringing up Devin Davis, Coach Green did say tonight that his injury was a traumatic brain injury. So prayers go out to him. But yeah, moving forward, Devin, we don't really know when or if he'll be able to come back this season. So it definitely looks like Hanner is going to have to be the guy and play more than 30 minutes every game.
Yeah, he's kind of alone down there in the front court, and like you said, that's such a key for him to.
Mm-hmm.
He only had those 2 fouls tonight, and was able to be out there for. Really, I was thinking maybe 25, 30 minutes, but to exceed 30 minutes and be out there for basically the whole game, or like basically all the minutes that mattered. I mean, it was kind of a blowout by the you know 13, 12-minute mark of the second half. For him to be out there as long as he was is such an encouraging sign for Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So that was obviously a positive for them, and then having the increased shooting attack, we knew that we were going to see it. We knew that Zeisloft, Blackmon, Johnson, these guys were going to be able to come in and immediately make a difference in terms of the way Indiana spreads the floor and the way they shoot. Tonight they were 9 of 27 from behind the arc, but they started off pretty slowly and kind of heated up as the game went on, and that was kind of the key for a lot of the guys. I mean, James Blackmon throughout the whole game was pretty stellar.
Yeah.
He was 7 for 11 from the floor, all 10 of his free throws, 7 rebounds, and obviously those game high 26 points. But for the rest of the team, it kind of was maybe a little bit slower developing. Nick Zeisloft especially really came on in the second half. A lot of his 24 points came after halftime. Again, he was also 10 for 10 from the free throw line. He was 4 for 8 from behind the arc, and was just doing a little bit of everything. He had 3 assists, which maybe kind of underscores how well he was passing the ball. I mean, he had a couple really nice passes that set up assists or set up baskets or kind of change possessions, and especially outlet passes after rebounds or after steals. He really did a good job of pushing the ball up the floor, which is obviously what Indiana really wants to do. And another thing that Indiana always wants to do, and basically always does the past couple of years, is to get to the free throw line and create a disparity between them and their opponents. IU shot 38 free throws and only let Northwood shoot 9. So to have that enormous disparity there is such a huge key of an Indiana team that's probably going to struggle scoring inside for a lot of the year. And on nights where maybe their shot isn't really hitting on all cylinders, the ability to go into drive and to draw fouls and get to the foul line is again going to be just a massive key for Indiana, especially in these next few games where they're going to have a short bench. They're not going to have many players. Obviously, just to recap, obviously all of you know this, but Devin Davis, as you mentioned, in the hospital with a very serious head brain injury after the accident last Friday night, Saturday morning, in which Emmett Holt struck him with his car. Holt is suspended 4 games. Troy Williams and Stan Robinson are suspended 4 games, which is both exhibition games in the first 2 regular season games for failed drug tests. And then Max Hotzel hurt himself in practice earlier this week or late last week trying to dunk on Hanner Mosquera-Perea, which is never a good idea. But it sounds like his injury, young ballsy Hotes. But it sounds like he's going to be back probably next week, if not for Monday's exhibition game, then sounds like probably for the season, the regular season opener. And then Jeremiah April, still really unsure about his status. His ankle is keeping him out of contact drills. He was going through the lay of line today, but Coach Green said he and Hotzel still aren't doing full contact things in practice. So April, his timetable isn't really. We're not really sure about that. Davis, we're not sure if he's even going to play this season. And then, obviously, those other guys have kind of staunch 4-game suspensions. So these next few games are going to be interesting for IU. They're going to have to get a lot of minutes out of a lot of their people. I mean, their starters, 4 of their starters played more than 30 minutes, and the other one, Rob Johnson, played 28. So, and the starters scored all but 5 of their points. And they really, the bench didn't score until the game was way out of hand. Tim Priller hit a 3, and then Nate Ritchie had a dunk. But maybe they'll want a little bit more out of their bench the next exhibition game, a little bit more in terms of giving some of those guys rests. I mean, you can't have Yogi Ferrell playing 34 minutes a night in exhibition games. I mean, you have to save him for Big Ten play and everything like that. But we're going to find out a little bit more, obviously, about this team Monday night here, same time, I think at 7, against UIndy. It's going to be on BTN. It's going to be a student-run production, so that's pretty exciting. Some people that we know personally. So that's basically what's next on our agenda after Indiana obviously plays Penn State on Saturday at noon here, or not here, but at Memorial Stadium. But until then, for John Bauernfeind, I'm Alice McCarthy, and you guys have a good weekend.